Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic, coding well, and today we've got an article from Bounding Into Comics on a Sunday. That is a very rare occurrence, at least from what I've perceived, but I always love Bounding Into Comics. Another article from J.B. Augustin, another rumor apparently going out of the way. So obviously the rumors have been that Henry Cavill is going to sign or is in the process of signing a contract for a multi-film deal to once again play the character of Superman. This would seem to make a lot of sense, seeing that the hashtag release Snyder Cut has indeed now come to fruition, with it being released or set to release in next year, 2021, on HBO Max. And obviously, he was a part of the announcement with the director Zack Snyder as well. And so it seems that he is very much still a part of the DCEU and likely will have been pegged to maybe do some reshoots to try and finish the final product of the Snyder Cut, and potentially also could now be in a position to be Superman continued in the DCEU. However, there's now another rumor coming out that apparently it would be a return for Henry Cavill as Superman in a JJ Abrams Superman movie. Now, I know there's a lot of people that watch content on this channel and other channels that I'm associated with that hear this news and think to myself, oh my goodness, what in the hell are they thinking? Because JJ Abrams, even though I personally, as Odin, believe that he is decent at getting things started, he is terrible, and I think that even people that are fans of his will universally agree that he is terrible at finishing things, whether it's television shows like Lost, whether it's movies and franchises. When you look to Star Trek and Star Wars, he just has never been very good at at getting things to an end conclusion. He always is able to bring some interesting ideas. However, most of those interesting ideas tend to be him borrowing from other better, more authentic filmmakers. Like, for example, when you look to films like Super 8, very clearly he borrowed a hell of a lot from Steven Spielberg in a lot of those shots, in a lot of those ideas and concepts. And he's done that a lot with other projects and other films and television shows as well. And so when you look to this announcement that he is going to get the next Superman movie and that Henry Cavill's next portrayal of the character, other than, of course, the hashtag Snyder Cut, will be in a JJ Abrams film, is going to make a lot of DCEU fans a bit wary. Because even though Cavill likely will be great in it, and very well it could be at least an interesting start to the character in continuation of his story, when it comes to JJ Abrams and the end results of what he will end up trying to push for, I would be concerned as well. So let's go ahead and dive into this article. Once again, it says, we keep hearing JJ Abrams is going to make a Superman movie as a part of his deal with Warner Brothers and recast the role. However, that might change with Henry Cavill moving closer to a turn in the Cape. So again, this is combining a couple rumors. Again, we are indeed in that rumor territory, so please take all of this with a grain of salt, especially since the next part is coming from sources related to John Campea. And if anyone is aware, John Campea, though he might be right on certain things that are universally accepted, he also sometimes has some really bad takes, especially when it comes to predicting box office, like saying, oh yeah, you know, Aquaman, that's not going to make any money. December's a terrible time of the year, and then it ended up making over $1 billion. So there is that. So always take what he says with a giant grain of salt. And again, that's why it's great to say rumors instead of him hiding behind, well, my sources tell me, well, my sources say. I'm just going to say this is all rumor territory for sure. Sources told YouTuber John Campea Abrams is indeed making a Superman movie, and it will include Cavill, or at least that is within the realm of possibility. Notice the double speak there is just amazing from Campea. The reason they haven't announced anything, says Campea, is they want Abrams to still have some flexibility to make those decisions. Oh, really? Did your sources tell you that? Is that an exclusive hot take from you? Is that something that no person with logical common sense could say, yeah, you know what, that makes sense? That, yeah, he's going to have a Superman movie. There's now rumors that, you know, Henry Cavill is going to continue to be the character, so therefore let's put two together. Well, Abrams was said to be thinking about, or at the very least positioned, to do another Superman movie, or at least to direct a Superman movie. Henry Cavill is now being positioned to do more of them, therefore the two will probably end up meeting up. And yeah, they haven't announced anything yet, not because, oh yeah, well, they want to make sure that JJ has some flexibility. It's that they're still trying to figure out these contracts. I mean, God, I love it. I freaking love it. So anyway, Cosmic Book News was the first to report that the Abrams Superman rumor was there, that it would result in a recasting with an unknown David Coruscant as the favorite, and it would be the beginning of a fresh start for the DC Extended Universe under the Rise of Skywalker director, his buddy, and the Batman director Matt Reeves, and the Suicide Squad's James Gunn. The realization of Zack Snyder's Justice League and Cavill's retention of the part after years of lobbying through those alleged plans for a loop. What's more, CBN reveals the potential for Justice League 2 and Man of Steel 2 to come out of it all. Warner Brothers may have requested seeds of these endeavors to be planted in the Snyder Cut. As of right now, Man of Steel 2 is not in the cards, but that does not mean Abrams won't end up directing it or a Justice League sequel. His name gets brought up within the future of both series, and he has the green light on a Justice League Dark show for HBO Max. And so this is where my own speculation comes into play. We all know JJ Abrams has a lot of power in the industry. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially with what happened with The Rise of Skywalker. I imagine that power may have decreased a little bit. However, the fact that he is still very much being talked about to head a DCEU property and potentially even the next Justice League movie kind of seems to indicate that he still has a lot of clout in the industry because, as my buddy Gary over on Nerdrotic's channel always says, he has his tentacles in pretty much every single major IP all across the entertainment industry. And so for him to be talked about as saying, yeah, he's probably going to get a Man of Steel 2 or something like a Justice League 2. To be perfectly honest, if I had to guess between those two properties which one he would get, I imagine that he would be like, well, I want to have my name attached to Justice League 2 because I want to be the one that saved everything. Or that's how he perceives himself to be. What will actually happen is that if that indeed does to come to fruition, it'll be because Zack Snyder's Snyder Cut got people interested in the DCEU again, setting up for Abrams to then take that and then run with it, which is something that he's done before, sometimes well, sometimes not so well, but again, not really coming from his own creativity, not really coming from his own talents, but rather borrowing off the talent of others. And this is coming from a guy that is not a big fan of Zack Snyder. Again, not a big fan of his work, but I can at the very least understand and see the reality of the situation that if anyone should be thanked for keeping the DC universe, as far as the film universe, alive, it really is Snyder and the movement of fans that we've been pushing for that project. Some might say, well, what about Joker? Or what about the upcoming Batman movie? Or what about these things? Well, those are not a part of the DCEU. Those are a part of DC Comics. Those are a part of, Warner Brothers. But as far as being in this interconnected universe of various characters that we saw in Justice League, obviously those are on the outside of it. Obviously, we see here Abrams will likely want to try and be the person that's seen as the one that saved everything, but he'll just be taking credit for someone else's hard work, and most importantly, the person that put in the most work on keeping this alive and saving it is the fans. And I don't think Abrams or any of the Warner Brothers executives are ever going to want to admit the fact that the reason why this is still even being talked about, the reason why there's still any interest in this, is because of the fans, and most especially because of the fans that pushed for #release a Snyder Cut. Will they actually pay tribute to that? Will they actually respect that? Probably not. And we all know JJ Abrams loves taking stuff that people love, loves taking concepts that people are just, over the moon for. Can look to the first Star Wars movie and crapping all over it, right? Some, even myself, still think that The Force Awakens was not a terrible starting off point and could have gone to interesting places that could have paid off. What we got instead, though, was we got an idiot behind the camera with Rian Johnson who made his own movie, forgetting the fact that he was in a trilogy, and then JJ Abrams being forced to come back and just make something up to say, oh, well, I guess I have to make something work, and hey, here's a pile of crap, enjoy. So I have really no confidence in this. But what do you think about it? Do you think JJ Abrams will make a good first film and then fail towards the end? Or do you think that if he makes a good film at all, will try and take the credit and other people will try and point towards him while ignoring people like Zack Snyder and, most importantly, ignoring people like the fans? Let me know your thoughts about that and everything I talked about in the comments section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe. It helps out a lot. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to my May Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator Brian P, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weeder Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunker Chunker Funker Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Kenneth Camiel, Lady T, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, The DJD Show, and Tina B. Thank y'all for being my Patreon members, and a shout out to my Subscribe Star peeps: John B, Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nevadon G. Adams, and ZK Man. And a special shout out to David Bobrizik and Edgardo Martinez. I'm going to leave that pause there just in case anyone decides to join for the month of May, because you can indeed join on Patreon or Subscribe Star at any time this month to be eligible for any of the perks. They include access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John, the Flick Pick of John Flickinger's fame, so make sure you go ahead and check that out at the $10 and up level. Also, if you Subscribe Star or Patreon at $5 or up, you have access to exclusive giveaways of 4K movies, digital films, and a bunch of other stuff in between as well. And if anything, you could at least give just anything that you really want to help support the channel, and it would really help me out a lot. Keeps the lights on, makes me able to continue to do this kind of stuff. So anything you possibly give, check out some more information in the description of the Patreon, Subscribe Star, and of course YouTube membership links as well. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.